what we've been given is a farce, and we deserve better than that. Craig Bartmer. I'm an ex-New York City police officer. I was on the, I got in the job in 1995, and I worked until February of 2002. I melted 5 pairs of boots down there like a lot of other people did. I worked the pile like everybody else did, and I'm sick now because of it. But after working down there, Ground Zero, I collapsed one day in October of 2001, and I collapsed in the parking lot getting out of my car on my way into work. I woke up with a civilian over me, and it turned out that I wasn't breathing right. I took myself up to St. Vincent's Hospital, and I stayed there for a month. My own doctor had recommended that I recover outside of New York air because the air quality was so poor down here. I went to therapy. I heard about a program on the radio in New Jersey for 9/11 victims. It was called UMDNJ, University Medical something or other of New Jersey. I went through therapy there. I was diagnosed with severe post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, I had been having flashbacks. I hadn't been able to sleep for about 1.5 years straight. I was sleeping 2-3 hours a day, nightmares. It was bad. I know a lot of guys that weren't affected as heavily as I was, and I know a lot of guys that are affected heavily by it. Then I started having a pain in my chest that I couldn't explain, and I've been to the emergency room several times, 3 times, thinking I was having a heart attack. The last time I was there, the doctor told me it was all in my head, and I said, "Doc, this isn't in my head. I feel this pain in my chest." But chest X-ray and an EKG didn't see anything wrong with my lungs or my heart. I got involved online with a group, the World Trade Center Survival Network, and an ex-EMS lieutenant, a friend of mine. He's very sick, and he advised me that I should go get a CAT scan with contrast done. And I had that done, and sure enough, it revealed that my upper left frontal lung lobe is partially collapsed. They're calling it microcollapsed. And I have scar tissue in both of my lungs, which is the beginning stages of pulmonary fibrosis. And every year from now on, I'm going to have to get a CAT scan to see whether or not I need to get on the list for a lung transplant. That explains the pain in my chest. I don't have idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is the really bad, fatal. You get diagnosed with that, 5 years, you're either dead or you have your lungs cut out of you. But every year I still have to get checked to see if it progresses to that stage. So in that effect, I'm in limbo. I feel that, and I don't just feel this. I mean, it was more or less insinuated to me that the department knew that I was going to get sick, and I was forced out as a result of it. I mean, they put me in a situation where I think anybody would have made the same decision I did, given the set of circumstances. They could have hired 2 rookies for my salary, and they wouldn't have to pay me a disability pension for the rest of my life, 3/4 for the rest of my life, which I would have probably ended up getting. And it sucks. I mean, and then to find out that after going through all that I might have been fucking lied to about what caused all of that, about what killed people that I knew. Firehouse I used to eat lunch at sometimes, some of those guys, they're gone. To think that somebody at the very least might be responsible for criminally negligent homicide by knowing that this is coming, and all the indications show that somebody knew this was going to happen, and they did nothing about it.
To speak lightly of the event. That they knew.
Yeah, to watch a leader that I supported sit around and read a children's book for so many minutes when anybody else would have jumped up and did something makes me really angry. I was real close to Building 7 when it fell down, and running away from that sucked. That's one of the things that I live with all the time, and I don't know, but that didn't sound like just a building falling down to me while I was running away from it. There's a lot of eyewitness testimony down there hearing explosions. I didn't see any reason for that building to fall down the way it did, and a lot of guys should be saying the same thing. I don't know what the fear is in coming out and talking about it. I don't know, but that's the truth. You know, I don't know. I'm mad. I'm really mad. I think we're being lied to, and the only answer to get to the bottom of that lie is a new investigation. I think that the 9/11 Commission report is a farce. I think that the members that conducted it have conflicts of interest directly relating to not just our government, but corporations intertwined with our government. I think it's a farce. I think we're being lied to. There's not a word in it about Building 7. Mm-hmm. Why?
It doesn't even mention that it exists.
Right. Right. I mean, if controlled demolition theories are correct, which I hope to God they're not, to be honest with you, but investigate it for real. Oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. There's no steel to test because it's all been shipped off to China or melted down into something else.
Or stored in JFK Airport.
Or, yeah. I mean, we can rebuild plane crashes that crash in the ocean in warehouses, you know, speck of paint by speck of paint to determine what took that down, and we can't do any tests on the steel from the World Trade Center. You know, it's common sense. I'm working down there. I mean, I wouldn't, because I worked in transit in Lower Manhattan. We had posts to fulfill while guys were down there digging too. So periodically, people were put on. They were put on posts. So we saw a lot of stuff down there too, because we had the opportunity to stand around and actually work some barricades, and the steel was disappearing fast down there. I mean, there were lines of trucks for days being loaded to be taken in and out of there, and the rumors were flying that the mob was stealing the steel, and everybody that worked down there heard these things. The mob was stealing it. They were taking it to be melted down someplace. You know, then we were all told it was all going out to Fresh Kills, the landfill. Where did it go? You know, I mean, the FBI came in and made a really big deal about this being the largest crime scene in the world. Why wasn't it treated like it was the largest crime scene in the world? It wasn't. It was, you know, I don't know how it was treated.
Like a mess that needed to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable how fast Building 7 got cleaned up. By the time I was off the job, Building 7 was off the ground. So, I mean, it was... I don't know the dates on the exact dates of that being cleaned up, but that 15-story pile of rubble that I saw, you know, I would have liked to have seen a good investigation as to why that happened. You know, listen, there's a lot of people out there saying a lot of things, and I don't think that this is the time for us to be deciding what we believe in and what we don't. I think it's time to demand a real investigation of the experience and let the truth come out in the wash. Because I tell you what, if something, to use a police department term, if something hinky is going on, it'll come out in a real investigation, not a farce like the 9/11 Commission report.